Just curious why Keith trade any capital wall? Why not have him do deep analysis on the stocks you give him and then is well educated to start trading capital? Good question, Braden. I think it's important for people to understand risk quickly. There's a lot of good analysts out there. Like I was a very good analyst, but it never put me in the trenches. And I think putting somebody in the trenches early is a good thing.
You gotta feel it.
Yeah, I do think Keith's got to do more research. But what's that?
You gotta feel the pain, but I've
Yeah.
already felt it.
But you also have to do the research. If you don't know the names, you'll never really make much money. You have to understand the names, understand what's going on. At the same time, there's lots of traders out there that say things like, one of my favorite sayings, and it's a really good one, I think, to help you understand the market, is for any given stock, there is usually one or two things that really matter. Your job is to figure out those one or two things, come to an opinion on it, and that's it. And the reality is, that's a lot easier than being a deep diving analyst that's going crazy. So how do you get that understanding? Well, one of the main things is relationships. And you tell somebody, hey, I'm looking at the SanDisk. What do you think? But you have to have the relationships. If you don't have the relationships, you may not be able to get that kind of intel. But, you talk to 5 traders who are all trading SanDisk, they'll basically tell you what's going on.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, it's your job to sort of sit and decide. And the person who sits and decides doesn't have to know exactly how high bandwidth memory works. They have to know how trading works. You can have the deep analysis, but at the end of the day, what really matters is the stock going to go up or down? And how do you decide if the stock's going to go up or down? Well, that's the hard part. The analysis part, I wouldn't say it's easy, but it's much easier because analysis is formulaic. I mean, ChatGPT could do the analysis now. You can ask ChatGPT, what are the main controversies on SanDisk stock right now? But now you need the judgment to say, okay, I've thought about this, and I think it's going to go up because of this reason or down because of that reason. You don't even need a reason, as long as you're right. And I think, look, I mean, I think you have to 90% weigh your research and fundamental work, but if you can make money consistently without being the deepest, most analytical person, that's fine. And again, I'll give you my life story. I worked at a Tiger Cub. Only one boss could trade, the big boss. You had to go beg the big boss to make your trade. Okay.
Like I see, that's explain exactly why.
100%. Yeah. And if the big boss puts your trade on, and then whatever reason, he can take it off. Right. It's not, you have no power. And at the end of the year, the big boss gives you a bag of money. That's it. And the problem is, it's fine for him. But when it's your turn to trade, you've never done it.
Yeah.
You have no fucking idea how to do it.
The experience is better than.
Yeah. Now, we implemented something where people could trade to avoid that. But the problem when you do that, as I said the other day, is now the analysts start to think that they're supposed to be portfolio managers and traders. And that takes the time away from their research. So I really do think as we get more seasoned here, the natural thing to do is to spend more time researching. But I also think learning what these stocks are, learning the names, understanding the basics is a good way to do it. It's a good way as any. And again, you get somebody interested in the market because they like the sensation of trading. They like the sensation of the stimulation of the they like they get used to the trading environment, and they say, how do I get better at this? Right. And you have to give them a mix of getting better via learning how to do fundamental research, which Tiger was basically the best ever at. That was the whole Tiger Cub thing you're going to learn a lot about. And, whether that's still a thing or not, it's not clear, but it was a thing for a bit. And there's still Tiger Grand Cubs now. In fact, we're technically a Tiger Grand Cub. So
My boss worked at Tiger, and so he left Tiger and started a Tiger Cub, and I worked there, which makes me a Tiger Grand Cub, which kind of makes you, if you ever started your own thing, a Tiger Grand Cub, a great Grand Cub, which is pretty funny. So, and there's a whole tree. If you Google Tiger Cub like diagram or tree, you'll see all these faces and names, and most of them are billionaires. And there's a reason. We learn how to do fundamental analysis really, really well, and learn from each other. It's not just, the big boss teaches you and that's that. I'd like to think that maybe I taught the big boss one a couple times. And I think there's the trading stuff. Sometimes there's markets where like trading is actually the only way to make money. Sometimes there's markets where like, these big, bold investments work. And usually you can do both, right? I mean, there's traders who make money all the time, and there's investors who have a longer time horizon that make money. What really matters is, are you comfortable with your style? It's like chess, actually. My chess coach is one of the best chess players in the world. Once told me that, Martin, you shouldn't learn openings that you don't like to play. I said, why is that? What's the difference if I like to play it or not? He said, no, when you play chess, you got to use your style. You like to attack. You like to be reckless. Well, there's a way to do that works. And the openings, like the French defense, he said, this probably isn't perfect for you. But, regardless of chess, the point is, like, if you like these, like, for example, short selling, and you like to short frauds until they're zero, you make a lot of money doing that. There's a lot of frauds out there. If you like value investing, where you wait for stocks to just get completely destroyed and buy them up and then wait for them to recover, great. You like momentum trading. You see a stock like SanDisk and you want to buy because it's going to the roof. Momentum guys make tons of money. What's not to like? You want to be a contrarian. You say, no, when something like that goes up, I actually get more attracted to taking the other side of the crowd. Those guys make money too. So, your style and getting good at your style is what's important. There's no style that's right or wrong. And the style that the direction Keith's going to, you don't know how he's going to change. He might say, you know what, I tried trading and, it was the worst experience because I never really felt sure about my profits. And, I wanted to really be sure. So I became more of an analyst. And then there's other guys who said, I tried to do research. I tried to think about the companies, and the worst I did. I really just want to get into being more of a trader. And that those guys should go quantitative, in my opinion, and write software to automatically trade the market, because whatever they're doing that's working, they could probably automate. And from that point, sort of become a money-making machine. They're physically being a money-making machine, right? But whatever it is that they are doing, they can simply do it with a computer and keep adjusting the computer and have it say, well, I wouldn't do that trade, computer. And the computer says, okay, I'll stop doing trades like that. And that way, you can kind of have an automatic moneymaker that's making money on every stock for you. But in any event, what really matters is, how do you perfect your craft? And your craft can be anything. Look at Buffett. His craft is a really weird craft. I mean, it's downright strange. It's like a private equity, super slow, all compound over decades kind of thing. It's a return on capital concept. Really unusual. Almost nobody invests like that, right? TCI maybe, Koch brothers. I mean, there's a handful of people that invest like that. And then you have, quant funds that they hold their trades for, a second. Buffett looks at that. I said, I don't know what that is. I don't know how to do that. But when my friend had dinner with Buffett, he asked him about Renaissance and these guys. And Buffett said, I don't know how to make money that way. I make money my way. They've done really well, obviously. They're just as smart as me, or smarter or better, but it doesn't faze me. I just let them do how they do. I don't think about them. They probably don't think about me. Let's leave it as that. I think that's, a really healthy attitude towards investing. The question is, how do you? There's no optimal way. You got PE guys, you got venture guys. I mean, I'm just talking about within funds. Let alone within the broader financial landscape where you have hundreds of ways to make money, thousands of ways to make money. There's no limit. So, whenever you look at somebody's style, don't overly try to overfit your style on top of it. I think, if Keith can make me 30% returns, I can keep all the money. I'll go to sleep somewhere. Go take a nap. That's nobody really cares how you make the returns as long as you do it consistently. Now, if Keith tells me, he's using astrology to make the returns, he's throwing darts at the wall. I maybe be a little more careful, but
How common are those guys?
no, not common.
Non-existent.
Basically non-existent. Yeah, I mean,
There you go.
yeah, most of the really good traders have some semblance of a process, but look, I'd be lying if I said that like every trader could actually articulate every single thing going in his head and explain it right down on paper why he's long or short. Most traders can't do that. I'd say most traders can't do that for every single trade. I'd say most traders could do it for more trades. And when you integrate sentiment, like the other day, what was really interesting is probably the most intelligent comment in the YouTube was this idea that SanDisk, I said the sentiment for SanDisk on that day trade, the analyst day trade, right? I said, there's nothing new here. And he said the sentiment was bad going into the analyst day. And that's true. The stock went from 2,300 to
So just broad reassurance.
exactly. I could kiss you.
All right.
Slow down. Exactly, Keith. The fact that they came out and kind of reassured the markets when the stock's in the shitter and people are depressed and they're like, it's all over. The manager's like, don't worry, we got this. Stock has a little relief rally. And now that I think the relief rally is going to fade, but if sentiment is good, the craziest thing you'll see in the markets is there's good news that comes out and the stock will go down because sentiment's so high anyway. Everyone's fucking long the stock. When Leopold happened, every memory bull got washed out. Every memory bull capitulated. So what's sentiment like? It's bad. Everyone's out. It's like a crowded room, right? If everyone has to run out the door is going to get really crowded. Well, SanDisk, the doors, they broke down the door already. They left. Everyone was out. So now management said, hey, everyone, come back in. Well, is it going to flood back in? But what happens when everyone's in the room? And management says, hey, come back in. So people, everyone come in. What happens?
It's overvalued.
Well, nobody comes in because everyone's already in the room.
Yeah.
All the buyers are already in. They can't buy anymore. There's no buyers out there. They all came in already. So you want to buy it when all the buyers have left the room. And that intelligent comment from the YouTuber, wherever you are, said, no, sentiment was really bad on the stock. So anything positive lights a match and it rallies. Oh, man. Is 13F's coming out? Yeah, I guess it's 13F season. So 13Fs are when hedge funds have to list their investments every quarter. So you should probably look. I mean, I don't think you should value these guys, but at some point you're going to probably like fall in love with one of these investors who you really admire and read their 13F. And the question is like, how seriously should you read into it? I don't think you should. But go into Godel actually. Go into Godel and type situational awareness. And do you see where it says situational awareness LP?
Situational awareness LP, yes.
Hit enter.
Yeah.
Get that. And you see where it says click to view holdings?
Yes.
Holder, click that.
Yes.
And this is Leopold's portfolio, ranked by dollars. So you see 2 billion in that, 1.6 in NVIDIA, right?
Yeah.
1.1.
Leopold's?
This is Leopold's portfolio. Remember, it's filed every quarter.
Correct.
So this is before he got smoked.
Yeah.
But you see the rest, right? You see SanDisk in there.
you see
AMD.
there's two SanDisks in there, yeah, because you've got call options too.
Micron,
Yeah.
SanDisk again,
Yeah. Now some of these are puts and calls, so you got to be careful. So if it says put or call, you might not take that into consideration. Anyway, there's other funds. Why don't you type in this one? I don't know if you like this one. Let me think of a fund you'd really like.